Something else that you can watch on WCNC Plus is our Weather IQ YouTube channel, which houses Science Sunday. Yay. Happy Science Sunday, everybody. Okay, so today our Science Sunday, I feel like, is a little bit more basic, but I think really fun and on theme. So Caitlin and I, we were talking, we were trying to kind of come up with something that was semi-Father's Day related. So we are going to go fishing.
Yes, we are. And I've been like practicing my fish, so we'll see how good these look.
Okay, so this is what you need. So you're gonna need a glass dish or bowl, just anything with edges, because obviously you don't want water. You're gonna pour water in here, so you don't want it to spill over. I only have clear ones at home. Obviously white would look fine too. That's actually why I have the paper towels under here so you can see better. But essentially you need one of those. You just need water. It doesn't have to be in a measuring cup. That's just what we use. And then any kind of dry erase marker. Doesn't have to be a specific brand, hashtag not an ad for Expo, but you just have to make sure that they're washable. So this is what you're gonna do. You're gonna take your little glass, if we wanna come back out, and essentially you're going to draw. It can be anything, but in this case, it's going to be fish. So you can see I've drawn little fishies in here.
Okay.
Do you want to draw some?
They're very high class fish.
Actually, I think that these fish look like bow ties, if we're being honest. If you take the up cam too, you'll be able to kind of see. So you want to let the kids draw. I mean, honestly, they can draw, again, whatever they want. In this case, we're drawing little fishies. The reason why we're exploring this science-wise is because we're going to talk about polymers. It's one of like the links and chains that, you know, a lot of the things that we have and the things that we use, like water bottles, are made of polymers, but there's different kinds. So you have silicone polymers, like a dry erase marker, and you have acrylic polymers, like a permanent marker. And we're going to kind of see why the difference between using a permanent marker on your glass dish would have an impact.
Am I having too much fun? Way too focused.
No,
I'm gonna make one very big because all fish aren't made equal. Some of them are
ain't
big
that the
fish
truth? We were talking about that. And so like I mentioned, if your kids are like, I don't want to do fish, you know, it's whatever. Basically the point between this, you know, with Caitlin and I talking about it, was we wanted to do something, you know, people can actually do, maybe encourage the fathers, right, to do this with their kids. So then you're gonna take your water, and you're going to try to find a corner maybe where there isn't actually a drawing.
Okay.
Just because you don't want to pour directly on there. But you're essentially going to slowly pour and see what happens.
My fish are alive.
They're alive. They're alive. So essentially what happens is that because dry erase markers are silicone polymers instead of acrylic polymers like a permanent marker, essentially the water is able to get underneath them and they will actually lift up and float. Look at that.
Some didn't
yeah, I know. Some decided they were not having it, but you can kind of see how my little fishies are floating. Take a little string, right?
Go.
Reel your fish. Something else that I think is kind of cool too is that obviously they're floating now and they essentially look exactly like how I drew them, but we talked about surface tension, remember, with the water a few weeks ago, and if you were to touch one of these, you break the surface tension and then it just kind of looks like almost like you just like peeled something off.
Okay.
Your fish are better. Maybe it's because you've made them so big. Maybe I needed to make them bigger. But I just think it's a cool little thing to, you know, we've done a lot of like experiments that cause, you know, like not explosions, but, you know, like fizzing and things like that with baking soda and vinegar. But it's a good reminder to just kind of teach the kids, right, about the things that, you know, we use and we produce and what they're made of. And polymers are essentially continuous chains of the same things over and over, like a water bottle, this little cup right here. Not so much a glass dish, but yeah.
All right.
Happy Science Sunday, baby.
No explosions.
Yes, no explosions today. Actually, I was
home.
looking at a few, and then I, for explosive, because I feel like my dad and I would definitely do like a Mentos and a Diet Coke kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I thought that our bosses would be upset if we exploded in the kitchen.